I keep finding spiders near where I sleep. I appreciate the offer to become a spider person, but I'm going to have to politely decline. I can't even be on the swings without getting motion sick. Swinging through the city would turn me inside out. Anyway, that was just me removing any and all doubt that I watched and enjoyed Across the Spider-Verse. On to what this video is actually about. This video and any future videos I make about my OCs are going to assume that you know the premise of my project, and if you don't, go watch the short real quick and come back. And maybe follow me on TikTok because YouTube Shorts doesn't know what it's doing. Anyway, I just gave Princess a massive glow up, and while the boys' designs are okay, it would feel wrong to leave them like this. It's like in a sitcom where two characters come out of a dumpster or something, and one comes out covered in garbage as expected, and the other comes out flawless. Anyway, I redesign my characters often, so I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to make the designs like award-winning or anything, so let's just jump into this. Alright, let's start with the guy who made it into the title. Prince is a chubby little kid. I draw him basically exactly how Steven is drawn in the pilot and season 1. I pointed out the similarities in their designs before, but really the only thing that makes them look similar is the curly hair. And I plan to give Prince more 4C-ish hair anyway in this redesign. So basically the curls will be closer together. If you remove Prince's sash, crown, cape, and gloves, which I don't know why you would, but if you did, you'd see that Prince's outfit is pretty plain. A plain design isn't always a bad thing, some characters are just minimalists, but Prince values his royal status quite a bit, so I think we could at least spruce up his shirt. He wouldn't wear a suit like this willingly, so that's out of the question. Remember, playful kids need unrestricted clothing, and Prince hates suits anyway. But what I can do is add these little buttons to his outfit to make it look a little fancier. This will also allow me to add some silver to his palette since I gave gold to Princess. Oh yeah, Prince is a sword fighter and he usually just pulls his weapons out of the ether and it always happens to fit the situation. I usually tell myself that the sash doubles as a holster for his sword so I can sleep at night, even though that's kinda dumb, but whatever. Whenever he needs it, I'll draw him wearing a strap, and I don't know, he can keep his smaller weapons in his shoes like Sasha.
How did you even walk?
Speaking of which, let's add some mud to his boots, because why not? He plays outside a lot, even though he's allergic to everything. We'll keep his color palette the same. It's meant to contrast Princess, so of course he wears much darker colors. And I think the ones that I picked are fine. Anyway, that's enough of this little gremlin. On to Servant's design. Okay, so Servant is intentionally meant to look plain for several reasons. He is literally just some guy. At some point he was so generic that we did that thing that cartoons used to do where you never see his face. The kids he works for are royalty. They're going to be more lavish in comparison. And he's one of those minimalists I mentioned earlier. Anyway, he wears a suit, as you do when you're a full-time employee. He has fluffy brown hair and a few scars on both hands. That's about all there is to say. By the way, the scars are not a result of a majorly tragic event, so don't get your hopes up. They'd be a lot bigger and less conspicuous if that was the case. Looking at butler attire online, I noticed a lot of them involved a vest under the jacket, and while I like the way he looks in a vest, the president of the Royal Council kind of already claimed that look. My co-writer told me that this guy should look more professional since he's literally a government official, but he's a theater kid, he's meant to be a little flamboyant. And then I thought, wait, theater, government. So yeah, Servant gets the vest, and I'll snatch one of these motherfuckers' outfits and slap it on this guy. Oh, and I've been thinking of giving Servant heterochromia. No reason, I just thought it'd make him stand out a little more. Plus the kids would have fun with it. The question is, what colors? Servant has grayish green eyes, so one eye would definitely stay this color. As for the other eye, I don't know how to pick colors, so I'm just gonna let Procreate do it for me. Before I start the speed paint, I'm gonna add Mr. President to this because I said I was redoing the male designs and he's a male. Okay, so originally this dude was 50, right? But then at some point I thought it'd be funny if Servant kind of had a vendetta against him. And I really hate it when people with an age gap have beef, so I brought him all the way down to like 33. His hair is meant to be somewhat reminiscent of his previous age, but I can do better than this. Oh, and he also has a large chest and wide hips. I think originally this happened by accident, and then I was like, actually I'm gonna keep him like this. Alright, now let's throw a Hamel fit on this guy and start the speed paint.
Commercial break!
Before we continue, I have to shout out this fan art of Princess by Bonnie Front on Instagram because how did you get this out the same day I made the video? Y'all should go follow her if you aren't already. Alright, back to the video. Let me talk a little bit about Mr. President and the Royal Council before I address y'all's questions. So the purpose of the Royal Council is to kind of act like advisors to the King and Queen. The royals are born into power, so the council kind of represents the citizens so the people in charge aren't disconnected from the rest of the country and their problems can actually be resolved. The president has taken it upon himself to personally mentor Prince and Princess so they can grow up to be decent rulers one day. He's very good with handling government matters. I like to think he's been interning at town halls since like early high school. He's not as good with kids though, so he struggles to get them to listen and behave, especially Prince. This guy's origin dates all the way back to the Beta era. When Servant goes on vacation and has a royal council member babysit, he wasn't even the president at the time, he was just some guy. And then he accidentally forgets to pick up Prince and Princess after school and they end up standing in the cold for like half an hour, and when they tell Servant, he cusses him out. Nowadays, Servant just doesn't like his smug attitude since he can be a little shit sometimes. It's very much a you aren't obligated to like everyone type deal going on with them. Alright, questions. Someone asked me who my favorite OC is, and I mean, it's kind of hard for the creator to choose a favorite OC, you know? Because as an audience member, you can just pick whoever you vibe the best with, but for me, it's who I have the most fun writing. But the thing is, if an OC isn't fun to write, you can tweak them until they are. So it really depends on I'm just kidding, it's Servant. Stoic yet gentle character is one of my favorite tropes, plus I project a lot of my own traits onto him. So I've been told. How did Princess get interested in science? I feel like this is one of those cartoon things that you don't need the answer to, especially since the answer is incredibly unserious. But since you asked, she watched a lot of Bill Nye as a baby, or the Bill Nye equivalent. I like to think that made her curious as to how the world worked as she was growing up, and she decided to personally find out. It's kind of the same thing for Prince. As soon as he learned how to move as a baby, that was pretty much all he would do. There's a horrifying stage that babies go through where they learn how to climb out of their cribs, and once Prince learned how to do that, he was like, what else can I do? On a meta level, it makes the stories more fun. Like, you could tweak the plot so that Prince and Princess are normal kids, but I feel like it's not worth it, you know? I want to give Aseristan a more fantastical ecosystem for the kids to explore and enable them to wreak havoc upon their surroundings. Alright, I'm probably done by now.
Here's the music!
The Fresh Beat Band, because why is that show literally my whole aesthetic? You will all go watch my videos and also subscribe and follow me everywhere else so I can become the most influential person on the planet. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.